Thank you for having me.
So this indictment is damning. It alleges that Combs engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals, including physical violence, in order to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. What are the most serious charges in this indictment? And if found guilty, what punishment could he face?
Well, Sean Combs is facing serious charges. The first charge is the one that's most serious for me, which is the racketeering conspiracy. And the reason why is that, but for that charge, there wouldn't be a federal case because that racketeering charge is what allows this case to be in federal court, and also because of the timing. Because we're talking about 2008, the racketeering charge allows for this type of case to go on because of the age of the alleged incidents. But that is the most damaging charge in this indictment. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets charged with additional counts, but we'll see in the future to see if whether the prosecution will bring additional charges. But just on racketeering alone, he faces a mandatory minimum of 15 years incarceration and up to life imprisonment.
Wow. And it was interesting to note that despite offering a $50 million bond as well as home detention, he was denied bail. He's been locked up in a special housing unit in Brooklyn. Why would they make that call to deny bail? What are the risks?
Well, first off, the purpose of bail and even setting bail is to assure that the person returns to court. And I don't think that was the issue that the judge had with Puffy returning to court, especially with offering so much collateral of $50 million and also telling the judge that he plans on selling his plane and offering his home as well as the home of his mom for him to return to court. The main issue that the judge had is that a lot of these allegations took place inside of a home, inside of a hotel room, inside the privacy where pretrial detention wouldn't be able to supervise that type of conduct because it's taking place inside of a home. Also, what was concerning for the judge is that there's allegations that he tampered with witnesses, that he was intimidating witnesses. And for the prosecution, they have already stated that this investigation is ongoing and that they believe that this type of conduct would obstruct the future investigation having to deal with females coming forward in the future and in essence actually enhancing this prosecution.
And prosecutors highlighted what happened to Combs's former girlfriend, how he was seen beating her in the corridor, the hallway of a hotel. I want to show our viewers some of that video, and a warning, it is disturbing. We know that Combs initially denied that this took place, saying that she was out to get money. But after CNN obtained that video and after it aired, he apologized. Now, his attorney spoke with CNN a short time ago about that. I just want to play some of that sound.
This video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
I mean, what do you make of that argument? He described this as toxic but mutual. Is that going to be part of his defense?
Well, it seems like preliminarily that's what he's going to argue. That's what he put before the magistrate judge today to try to get Puff Daddy released, but that didn't work. And in fact, it backfired on him because when the judge took into consideration that the defense tried to say that he was going through some things, that this was a private situation, not a public one. And the judge said that it's the same private dealings that he has huge concern with, especially when he has to consider Puffy's danger to the community, whether he's a threat to the community. So he did use that against him. I will say in the end, he's arguing that, yes, this is between two private parties, but it sounds more of an issue of fact. And when it comes to issue of facts, that's what's supposed to go in front of the jury for a jury to determine what really happened and what's the true truth in any trial.
Bernarda Villalona from Columbia Law School, appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, still to come, Europe battling floods and flames. We'll have the latest on the severe weather affecting the region. Also, a man accused of recruiting dozens of strangers to rape his wife over the course of decades takes the witness stand in France, admitting that I am a rapist. The latest on that shocking story next on CNN.